So Dana White went on First Take, basically fully announcing Zuffa Boxing, whatever they're gonna call this boxing organization that Dana White will run. We're gonna watch a bit of this interview. We're gonna talk about what I think about this, and then I've got I've got another thing that I want to bring up at the end. But without further ado, I'm gonna start playing this video. I want to make sure that I don't waste as much time as I did when I first recorded this. So here we go.
Talk to us about this.
Yeah, obviously exciting for me. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here right now if it wasn't for the sport of boxing. That's where I started, and I've been talking a lot of smack about boxing for a long time, and now here we are. And you know, I'm looking forward to implementing changes and things that I think would definitely help the sport. Simple things like, you know, the best fight the best. How about that? You see a lot of guys. There's a lot of talent that we've been looking at out there right now that nobody knows about. And what I would love to do is build this thing from the ground up, the way that we did the UFC. When we originally bought the UFC, we had 12 contracts.
Okay, so what he says right there, I wanted to play majority of that clip, so you can hear most of his words. But he just goes on to repeat best fight the best, the way that UFC is supposed to work. And I absolutely agree. I feel like we all agree. What made boxing see the downward spiral it is in, I would say, is the best boxers do not fight the best boxers. Look at how long it took to do um, Fury and Usyk. Look how long it took to do honestly majority of the Fury fights. I think the Joshua rematch for one thing. It's very annoying, and then you also have multiple promotions and multiple titles, and this guy's undefeated. This guy's undefeated. Very, very few actually fight legit boxers that are legit contenders. But I feel like Dana White can be the one to do it now, but he has his own problems in the UFC. And that's mainly what I want to talk about. I want to jump here and let you listen to a few more things he's uh, thinking about doing with this promotion.
Out there that nobody knows about. Build cards that are great from the first fight to the last fight of the night, just like we do in the UFC. I mean, everybody keeps asking me, what's the model? You know the model. The model is exactly what we've done at the UFC.
And making the fights, not glossing over that, making the fights that we want to see, like we see in the UFC.
I need to bring this up to him because the UFC deserves so much credit for this. This past weekend, Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach fought. Lamont Roach was a name.
Okay, yeah, Lamont Roach beat Gervonta Davis. I don't really follow boxing that much. I basically gonna save you the high school listening to Stephen A. Smith, but basically Dana White says he wants to do the exact same thing he does with the UFC. You have the top five guys, they duke it out, winner moves on to fight for the belt, and you do that building the right fights in the rankings. Cool, I want to see that too. Problem is though, that you're not following your own fucking rankings. Nobody knows who does the UFC rankings, and apparently they're going to be done by AI. He talks about Alex Pereira here. Wait, no, actually, is this? I want to find where they ask him, apart from John Jones, who they, is it right here?
On the fight Pereira?
Jones will fight anybody, too.
Okay.
Yeah, well, this is the part where they talk about Jones fighting Pereira. there's a lot to talk about here, so let's get into it.
I agree.
You know,
He's willing to fight him. He's willing to fight anybody right now.
is Jones willing to fight Pereira?
Jones will fight anybody too.
Okay.
Do you know?
I know he's not.
Oh yeah, wait, hold up. They were talking about Arsenal. Again, here, let me back it up a bit too.
Well, when you say whoever, you know the name that comes to people's mind is John Bones Jones.
Right, I agree.
You know,
He's willing to fight him. He's willing to fight anybody right now.
Is Jones?
Okay, no, I forgot my bad. So, Stephen A. Smith brings up Pereira Jones. Basically, massive money fights. Casuals want to see it. Hardcores, we want to see John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Let's see how Dana White promotes this fight.
Jones willing to fight Pereira?
Jones will fight anybody too.
Okay.
Do you know?
I know he's not scared of anybody. He's the greatest ever. No, he's a great.
Then why isn't he fighting? I know he's probably saving it for an international fight week. It's 3 months away. We got time for it to be announced. But the fight is Arsenal versus John Jones. Just say it. Again, so by saying it on the show, you be using your leverage. John Jones right now is using his leverage against the UFC to get more money for the Arsenal fight. What they should do, honestly, and I'm a big John Jones fan, be like, Pereira wins, you do Pereira Aspinall for the undisputed belt, or you say, you know what, John, fight Tom International Fight Week. That's your option. And we all know, because John Jones has said it, he wants the Pereira fight over the Arsenal fight. Established champion, biggest name in the sport, will make a lot of money. Both of them are major money fights, though.
He's the greatest ever. I'm talking about, does he want to do it? You know, because we know he could beat anybody. Does he want to do it?
He does want to do it.
I think best sporting event I went to this year, well, technically 2024, was in November at the Garden for John Jones' fight. When do you think we would potentially see him back?
This summer.
Okay. And then on this particular...
So Dana says this summer again. My thoughts. I feel like I will be correct in that fact. But say Tom Aspinall. Say the name. Hype the fight. Come on, dude. You're a promoter. You're the greatest promoter in the history of fight promotions. Show something.
card, I'm also excited to see Justin Gaethje back.
Yeah. He's fighting for Zeev.
You don't like Gaethje?
I love him. I just hated seeing him get knocked out like that. That hurt my heart. It hurt me to see that happen.
I agree, but you see how many guys he's knocked out?
I know that. But to see him go out like, that hurt my heart there.
But, I mean, him and Holloway, they literally, the end of the fight, they point at the center and they both go in there and start doing. I mean, you couldn't.
They were talking about Holloway.
Nothing worse than seeing two guys you love fight.
Yeah.
Dana, before we let you roll, UFC, boxing, what should we be keeping an eye out for?
All right, so we say it right there at the end. What should we look out for? This is a perfect opportunity to, make major headlines. Name drop. Doesn't even need to be a title fight. Just name drop a couple other fights. Then UFC's 13. What does Dana White have to say to look out for? What is Dana White keeping our attention with and hyping us up for? How does he do it?
What do you mean?
Just in terms of looking ahead.
All of it. Well, keep an eye. Well, the next thing is obviously we have to get into the infrastructure phase. We have to go in and start building some infrastructure, and we got to go out and get a rights deal. So those will the rights deal will be the next.
An infrastructure deal and a rights deal. That's it. Just continue to talk about boxing. Because that's what they were going for. I'm tired of this. I am tired of how many fights the UFC missed. And it's the last, I would say, 3 years, it's been very prominent where the best aren't fighting the best. You're saying you're going to do that with boxing. You're not doing it with UFC. What is DDP versus Hamzat Chimaev? What is Islam versus Ilya Taporia? John Jones versus Tom Aspinall? I know you said you're looking at the summer for that. I pulled up this article here. I want to go through it. This is a random article of fights that never happened, but should have happened. Some of these fights did happen, though. That's a weird part. GSP Anderson Silva, biggest fight they missed out on. Both had, you know, I'm pretty sure both of them had 10 title defenses at the time. Both ahead of their game. I know the Johnny Hendricks fight happened and whatever. Hendricks did win that fight. He was also juiced to the gills. And Dana White was absolutely against this super fight. He did not want to risk losing one of his champions, one of his faces, losing the hype off of a loss to the other. This was the epitome of two of the greatest, like, these two are on majority of people's Mount Rushmore. GSP, Anderson Silva, John Jones, Demetrius Johnson. How did you miss this fight? I know Anderson Silva popped, well, whatever. I know GSP left. How did you miss this fight? Biggest fight they missed of all time. John Jones versus Francis Ngannou. John Jones was mainly to blame that. Took 3 years to build in the heavyweight. Francis Ngannou wanted more money. The UFC didn't want him boxing, so he went to PFL. Boxed Tyson Fury. Boxed Anthony Joshua. Got knocked out. Made $40 million, whatever it is. And beat running for a 7-foot dude in the PFL. Khabib versus Tony. You know, that one is high on everybody's list. They booked it 5 times, and this is the one that I will give UFC credit for. This was simply a cursed fight. Like, every time they made this fight, something fell through, and it hurts me every day. Moving on. Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. Well, you wasted 2 years of Michael Chandler. You cost that guy millions of dollars. I know he did it to himself, but potentially could have had 1 to 2 more title matches. Maybe, shocking upset. He wins the title against Islam Makhachev. I highly doubt that. But you never know in the sport of UFC. Daniel Cormier, Brock Lesnar. They brought in Brock Lesnar after DC knocked out Stipe. Brock was still in WWE at the time. Juice to the gills probably wouldn't have passed a test if he tried. Yeah, Conor RDA, big one. Anthony Pettis versus Jose Aldo. Pettis got injured. Ronda Rousey, Chris Cyborg. Ronda Rousey at the time was the biggest female star pioneer to MMA. Cyborg was the featherweight champion. She was way too big for Ronda. Then we obviously got Nunes versus Cyborg, which Nunes knocked her out instantly. It proved she was the greatest women's fighter of all time. Brock Lesnar versus Fedor Emelianenko. This one, they were in talks with Fedor and his manager. Dana White always says that the manager fucked him over in this, and they weren't going to sign him to that ridiculous contract. Still, massive fight they missed out on. Justin Poirier versus Nate Diaz. They were going to fight, was supposed to happen at 2:30, and they just never materialized. Could have done it on his way out. Instead, they match him up against fucking Hamza Chimaev. Everybody sees that bullshit. So Hamza conveniently misses weight by 8 pounds, and uh, Nate submits Tony on his way out. Honorable mention Aljo versus Merab. Their teammates. That's it. But I'm gonna add on Jose Aldo versus Henry Cejudo. Jose Aldo versus Dominic Cruz. Jose Aldo versus Aldo. Basically, they missed on every fucking fight possible in the bantamweight division. This is my main reason for making this video, right? Jose Aldo comes back at 42. Legend, Hall of Famer, undefeated 10 years. We could be talking about him having legacy defining wins and be in the GOAT conversation if he knocked out Tito Dillashaw, if he knocked out Dominic Cruz, if he knocked out Henry Cejudo. If he did all three of those, I guarantee you we will be talking about Jose Aldo being in the top five. He was in the top five for a while. But no. He makes no effort to do Jose versus Dominic Cruz. Instead, Dominic Cruz's retirement fight, you do it against Rob Font in Seattle. He got injured. Rob fucking Font. Really? Bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz. Inaugural bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz. Looked at as one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. We're all fully in the past. Henry Cejudo beat Demetrius Johnson in a controversial fight, becomes flyweight champion, knocks out TJ Dillashaw at flyweight, TJ Pops for ATO, moves up, knocks out Marlon Moraes, knocks out Dominic Cruz. You're telling me Jose Aldo versus Henry Cejudo didn't make sense? You're telling me that nobody in that room figured that, oh my god, we have two former champions. We have two stars. You're not going to do that fight? So, I find it hard to believe that at a time where UFC is struggling to make the fights they want to see against contenders, against champions, the random occasion where UFC fighters are fighting the ranked guy. Like Khalil, no disrespect to him, he went out. He put everything on the line. That was probably the greatest light heavyweight fight we've had in quite some time for the title. But you're gonna make this Zuffa boxing. They're gonna put on the fights you want to see, but you're not even doing it in the UFC. I I'm all for it. I'm all for Zuffa boxing, whatever it's gonna be called. If you're gonna make the fights you want to see in boxing, make an effort to make the fights in MMA we want to see. I don't know, man. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you make about this interview? I will leave it linked in the description so you can watch the full thing. What do you think about Zuffa boxing? And what do you think about the UFC always missing the biggest fights of all time? Let me know. And thanks for watching. Later.